Hello, friends, and welcome back this week. So, this is part 2 of an episode. So, if you haven't listened, make sure you catch the one the week before. And this is with Meg. And last week, we started diving into functional health and what that really looks like from the foundation up. Today, we're going to be diving a little bit more into thyroid and hormone health, how stress and nutrition deficiencies can impact our hormone balance, ways that we can support our metabolism and energy. So we're going to be digging deep today. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. And I encourage you that if you're looking for an easy way to get started on your health journey, check out my Healthy for Life membership. Inside of it, you're going to have the mindset course. And as you're listening to this podcast, you'll see why. Because it's important that we calm our nervous system. Because when we start to calm our nervous system and have the right mindset and can deal with our emotions and feelings that come up, then we have our body in a better place where it's going to function a lot better. Plus, inside this membership, you'll have access to hundreds of fitness videos. So there's no more scrolling through YouTube wondering what to do. The workouts are quick and effective and designed to help you exercise safely and keep your body strong for the long term. So make sure you check the podcast description down below. Hi, friends, and welcome to the Healthy Beyond 40 show. I'm Michele, mama of 4 and military wife, and I'm passionate about helping women get healthy from the inside out so they can feel better and live their best life. Do you feel like you're struggling to lose weight and get in shape? If you're ready to develop healthier habits, exercise consistently, and lose weight sustainably, then you're in the right place. I combine my expertise from my doctorate in physical therapy to my experience as a health coach, personal trainer, and yoga teacher to bring you actionable steps for a healthy lifestyle. No magic pill here, so lace up those shoes and get moving. And so one thing when I'm talking to new clients, I will ask if they've had their thyroid checked, and most of them have had it checked by a conventional doctor. So tell me a little bit, what is the difference typically between a conventional doctor checking your thyroid and saying it's okay, and then maybe having a functional doctor look at your thyroid and your hormones?
So again, let's go back to kind of what we were talking about with the medication. So when you're working with a conventional doctor, their tool for thyroid, if thyroid dysfunction, is to give a medication. So if your thyroid's off, they're going to put you on something like levothyroxine or Armour thyroid or something that is a medication. And so they're saying, okay, these are numbers that we're looking at. And if the numbers and, they have their range, which is really a broad range. So a lot of the ranges used in conventional medicine are actually these broad ranges. And really we see more people feel better in the tighter functional ranges. So if you're outside of this broad range, you're going to get a medication. So when we're looking at functional medicine, we're saying, okay, let's look at these more ideal ranges where we want you to be. And you might have a subclinical hypothyroid state where your numbers aren't off enough to take for them to recommend the medication, but they're still off enough that you don't feel well. You might be gaining weight, you might be losing hair, you might feel cold, you might feel tired. Those are some of the symptoms that we see. And so your thyroid might just be off. So when we're kind of taking a step back, we also have to make sure that we're getting the right lab panels. And I think that's getting better, but for a lot of people and for a long time, you were only getting a TSH run. And so a TSH is really a feedback loop to your brain, to how much thyroid, is a signal from your brain to your thyroid of how much thyroid hormones to produce. Then we need to look at T4. So that's the hormone produced by the thyroid. And then T4 actually has to convert into T3. And T3 has to get into your cell for you actually to feel the effects of the thyroid. And to make that a little more complicated, at the cell receptor site, we have something called reverse T3 that competes right there at that cell receptor. And that can get high if you have stress. So we're saying, okay, now higher stress is get more competition. But really to see the effects of the thyroid, we have to make sure that the T3 is getting into the cell, which is hard to actually measure. But we need a little bit more complete thyroid panel in order to see. So we can see, are you getting a free T4 run? Are you getting a free T3? Are you getting a reverse T3? Looking at thyroid antibodies. Do you have an autoimmune? A lot of people that have thyroid issues have an underlying autoimmune condition called Hashimoto's. Are you even getting your antibodies checked? So we need to make sure then that we're getting the right labs. And so a lot of people aren't actually even getting the right labs. And then if you get all the right labs and you're not feeling well still and they're not saying anything, then you might have what we're calling the subclinical hypothyroid, where you're not to the point where they're recommending medication, but you still don't feel your best. And in that space, we need to make sure that we're getting that T3 into the cells. So we can look at things like conversion issues. So sometimes maybe you haven't, I see this commonly, maybe you have enough T4, your thyroid's making enough hormone, but it's not converting into T3 to get in the cell. And we need things like zinc and selenium in order to have that conversion. So we need to make sure that we have the right nutrients. So things like I said, zinc, selenium, vitamin D, vitamin A, there's nutrients that support the thyroid. And so we want to start thinking, okay, again, going back to some of these steps of how well are you digesting and absorbing? Are you eating things that are giving you these nutrients? If so, are you digesting and absorbing those things? And, how much really are you paying attention to some of those? So food is information. I think we don't, like you're saying, we're disassociate from food sometimes. And, food's giving our body information on what to do. So we need to make sure that a lot of these nutrients are optimized.
Yeah, thank you for explaining that. Like, I'm sure as you guys are listening, you're like, wow, that's complicated. So it is. And so your conventional doctor may not be even testing all those labs. And you may be what's considered normal, but still having some of those symptoms. So you may still benefit from medication. So that's why I think it's helpful to work with a functional doctor, especially when it comes to that and you're having symptoms. And we really have to be like an advocate for ourselves. And I think that is so huge. Like if you go to a provider and you feel they're not listening or you feel something's off, like we have to advocate and seek someone else or do something else because we deserve that care.
Absolutely. And we do, I think we're at that point where we really do. I think you have to take your power back and you have to realize, okay, I need to be my own health advocate. I need to listen to my intuition. If I'm not feeling well, I can't. We were taught to put it in someone else's hands. Like, oh, my doctor will just take care of me. And so that's really not, and it's not that they don't have good intentions, but you are responsible for taking care of you and you know how you feel. And if you're not getting the answers that you feel like you should be, then you should be looking into it and really looking into what you can do. Because I am fortunate. I get to see these huge transformations every day where people just have these life-changing results and you can get better. And a lot of times when people come to me, they'll say like, well, can I get better? Am I the worst? Is this the worst you've ever seen? I'm like, well, no, I'm sure there's been someone that's, had more complications here because there's so many different things that come up, but you will, and you can get better. So I want you to take that message with you, if nothing else.
Yeah. And our healthcare is more set up to take care of sick care.
Mm-hmm.
They are worried about preventing communicable diseases, but when it comes to other parts of our health, it's really not that prevention based, like at the core of it. Like even though the doctor is going to check your blood pressure and things like that, that can help with prevention of things. When it goes to actually like, let's say you're having high blood pressure, like they may not say anything about your diet, which may be causing the high blood pressure.
Exactly.
Like they're going to look at some of these markers, but it's not truly about prevention and being healthy and optimal health. That is something like we have to take in our own hands. Hey friends, I just want to pause here and tell you about Organifi's green juice because this is one way that we can take our health into our own hands when we become educated about foods and supplements and how we can nourish our body with them. So this has been my go-to for years now, especially when life gets stressful. I love Organifi's green juice because it's not just another green powder. It actually has a clinical dose of ashwagandha, which helps your body handle stress. And you won't find that in most green drinks. I have not found it in another one. And I also love their gold drink. I love the pumpkin spice flavor. They also have it in chocolate. It's really yummy and cozy to have in the evening. And it has turmeric, which helps with inflammation, lemon balm, which is relaxing. So I like to have this before bed, or especially before or during my cycle, to just help my body relax and sleep better. So if you're trying to beat holiday stress this year and the winter blues, check out these amazing supplements. Use the code HEALTHY20 to save 20% when you check out, and you can use that code anytime you reorder too. All right, let's head back to it. So do you have, you can sort of make it up or mush people together? Like, what are some common things you see in your practice? Like, they come in looking like this, and then tell us a little bit how you help them. Like, walk us through like an example type patient you might see.
Yeah. And everyone's so different, but yeah, some of the common patterns, many people are bloated, many people are constipated, many people have fatigue, many people have weight loss resistance. I see a lot of women with headaches and migraines. That's one that people feel like they need to live with. Like they're just told, oh, you just have this forever. And we can see a dramatic change there. So any of the symptoms that you don't like feel are normal. If you don't feel like you're feeling your best, there's something off. And really, it's hard to say a pattern exactly for everyone because it depends on where they like. So what we do, I'll just kind of give you what we do is before I meet with someone the first time, I send them these long forms. So we do a health history form, we do a symptom form, and we do a lifestyle form. And I review and I have them send me any blood work or anything any testing they've already had. And many people that I see have already actually been to, maybe even some other functional practitioners or have, been looking for answers for a long time. So I'll say, okay, whatever you have, give to me. And I review all of that. And then the first appointment, we really go through and I ask a million questions. And I like to hear the story behind it because the story matters. It matters the order that things came in, what you felt, what you were going through. Like, for example, maybe you had COVID and you felt fine with COVID, but 6 months later, all of these things started, where there's a connection there. You might not see it because it was like, oh, I didn't even notice this. Or there's all these like little nuances that come in to play. And so we go through your story and then we look at, okay, based on you individually, what do we need to do and in what order? So we're saying, okay, we work through that cascade method, but everybody's needs within that are a little bit different. So what is your history? We're saying calm the nervous system down. Where are you on that schedule? Are you a busy mom that's chasing after little kids that aren't sleeping at night? Did you have past trauma that you've been holding on to for years? Everyone, again, comes in at a little bit different places. So we say, what are the things that we need to do? And what are all of this? And some people, it's interesting because there are people that can have pretty significant symptoms, but there maybe were only a few pieces that got put back together and they feel better so quickly. And then there's other people where there's just a lot more pieces that need to be put back together to bring your body back into balance. And so we're saying, okay, let's do this and then this and then this. And I always say, like, as long as you're making a little bit of progress and you're putting one foot in front of the other, that we're seeing the body really, you want to think of it as like your body's responding, your body's coming back into balance because your body wants to be healed. Like it wants to be in this balance. We call it homeostasis. So as long as we're seeing that, we're making progress.
Yeah, I think that's so key. Our bodies are meant to heal. They're meant to be healthy. And I think sometimes when you are not feeling well and going through something, it's so hard to remember that truth and to feel it. So for women who are listening who feel stuck, maybe they're exhausted, maybe they're bloated, maybe they're having hot flashes, what are some simple shifts that they could make to start feeling better?
Yeah. So let's just go back to the foundation. So, take a look. Sometimes I have you track your symptoms too. Another thing you can do is print out a calendar. And if you have like flares, if you feel worse on certain days, if you're someone who is like a headache or migraine sufferer, if there's things that you can pinpoint, write down what was going on for you the 24 hours before the symptoms got worse. So it's nice to start to track what's triggering you individually. So that's one of the things that you can do, that just print a blank calendar. You don't have to track every day, but if you're feeling something, if you're feeling it every day, it's a little harder to do until we start to get some of those things figured out. But if it's something that you can look at, you may see connections that you were so surprised of. Sometimes it's like, I ate olives before every time that happened, and I couldn't even believe it. There's little things and nuances that can come out. But we also just want to go back to basics. Now, make sure you're staying hydrated. Are you drinking water? Do you put electrolytes in your water? Are you absorbing the water? Do you drink it throughout the day, or do you chug your water? We want to sip water throughout the day so we get it absorbed at a cellular level. So, things like that. We want to make sure, like we said, that we're getting protein with every meal. Are you balancing your blood sugar? Are you stabilizing your cortisol? We can do little breath work, like I said, micro habits, where you take 2 to 3 minutes, 2 to 3 times a day, and just sit and do your breath work to bring your body back into that parasympathetic nervous system. So, bringing it back to basics, to little things you can do. Hydration. Make sure you're sleeping. Don't skimp on sleep. I know sometimes it's like, oh, that's my time. When everyone goes to bed, I have a little bit of like personal time then, please don't take that. Try to get sleep as much as you can. And then, make sure that you're doing the nervous system work, and try to get, protein and 2 servings of vegetables with each meal.
Yeah, I think those are all really great starting points, or just picking 1 or 2 of them. And you mentioned breathing again. I mean, that is one of my favorite things. It's like one of the easiest things to do. And I was recently working with a client, and she couldn't even take like a deep belly breath. So she was just getting rise in her chest instead of down by our stomach is where our diaphragm is. And that when we do those more deep belly breaths, that can really help to calm our nervous system. And we're so used to just like breathing fast that we just use more of our chest. So being able to slow for just a minute or 2 and do some deep breathing, there's so many different ways to do it, but can be so key and so helpful to just slowing down.
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. And so Meg, tell us like where people could find out about you and a little bit more about what you do.
Yes. So I have a podcast also called A Little Bit Healthier. So we talk about all of these things over there. So join us. I love to be on that journey with you too. And we provide just little things you can do every day to be healthier. And then I also, my website is megmill.com. It's just megmill.com. And I have a lot of information over there. We have blog posts, we have resources. I have a lot of free guides for you. And that's where if you're, interested in more about working together, there is a work with me place to find out more about that. And then I'm over on Instagram at Dr. Meg Mill. And we like to have fun over on Instagram and talk about things, but also have some fun with some of the symptoms too. I mean, especially when you hit those like perimenopause years where you think, okay, maybe things have been going okay until now the hormones are shifting, and now all those foundational things are maybe not in place, and it starts to go crazy. So
yes, that's perfect. And I'll have those links in the description for everybody. Meg, thanks so much for sharing and for encouraging us. And I encourage everyone who's listening, if you feel like you're sort of stuck in your health and you're feeling like you're having some of these medical concerns and you're not getting the questions, reach out to Meg.
Thank you so much.
All right, friends, I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope that if you're feeling you need support, that you reach out, whether that's to Meg that can help you more from that like functional provider standpoint, or for me, if it's more with the coaching or exercises, do that. So many people wait so long to reach out for help. So don't let that be you. If you need support and you're feeling stuck and you're not staying consistent, or you don't know what's going on, reach out. All right, friends, keep on moving and have a great week.